Okay, so we're picking up from the last tutorial with a similar network. In this case, we're using a switch instead of a hub, and I have put the switch already in. So I deleted the hub out. I just went right-click and delete. I added a switch in instead, and I've reconnected the wires up. So let's just show the logs for the various devices. So Homer, Marge, and Bart. Let's make these reasonably equal so we can see what's going on with all of them. Now you can see already that Homer, so in essence, when I reconnected it, the devices would have lost any semblance of a log that they would have had in relation to ARP, who has what IP address and MAC address, so on and so forth. And just to ensure that they actually did, on the 3 computers I went into net cards and I also asked it to reset the statistics just to make sure that everything that it had within its buffers was also gone. So once the initial ARP request was been sent, I paused it straight away just so we could see what's going out. You can see Marge has also started to send, as has Bart. Okay, and you can see that they're being broadcast out the switch on every port, bar for the port which it came in on. And here we go. So what do we have? So we have Homer has received communications from 10.10.10.3, which is Bart. And we have Marge has received from 10.10.3 and 10.10.10.1. So Marge has received both from Homer and from Bart, and Bart has received from Homer and from Marge. So Homer needs to receive still from Bart, I think. That connection may not have been made. When we try and send a further communication, Bart will need to reissue out an ARP request. Now what we can also do, which is really important as to how the switch actually learns, if we right click on the switch, we can show the switching table. What you will see here very quickly is on port 1, LAN 1, which is this guy here, LAN 1, we are associating that this MAC address is belonging to it. So in essence, that should be Homer's address. So if we were to have a quick look and see if we could find Homer's address. So it's AE8, just finishing in that. So let's have a look and see what we can. We'll pause that there. AE8, and if we go and have a look again, we should see, that on LAN 1 it's finishing in AE8, LAN 1, and again, just don't worry about the record types, then the TTL is time to live before we drop it. Okay, so that's absolutely perfect. Now Homer in this case has sent out a TCP connection going from Homer going towards Bart. So if we just play this and let's see what happens. So you'll see that Bart has received it, and Bart has also sent back. So, excuse me. If we have a look here at the last TCP packet that Homer sent, okay, we will see that the ISM was 2888, acknowledge 0. So if you remember from the previous tutorial, the TCP is a connection-oriented session which needs to be within a handshake. So what's happened here is we have the handshake was initiated earlier with the earlier piece of equipment, the hub. When we kicked off with the switch, the instruction had still been there to send it, so the TCP was sent. In this case, the Bart has received the TCP communications, so let's have a look to see what Bart has sent back. And what I'd expect to see is an acknowledge. So acknowledge ACK 2889, so 2888. So in essence what Bart is saying is I acknowledge that I haven't received 2889. Now in this case Homer will say that's absolutely correct, I didn't send you 2889, the last one I sent was 2888. That is in accordance with my understanding as to what I've sent you. So if we just let this play away. So Bart now is sending back to Homer just there his acknowledgement as to what he's received, and Homer will send out another stream of TCP segments, and they'll come back to Bart. You'll notice again the difference here over the hub. Marge is not part of this communication in any shape or form because 10.10.10.2 or Marge's Ethernet address is not in the equation. And the switch has enough intelligence to realize that the MAC address of Homer, it only wants to communicate to the MAC address of Bart. So we're coming in from LAN 1, we're only ever going out LAN 3. This now means that Marge can communicate to the switch. If we wanted to draw again a circle in your head around Marge and the switch, that Marge to the switch is its own collision domain. So Marge can only interfere with herself. Can't be interfered with by Homer or by Bart from a communication perspective within this diagram. So that means that Homer is its own collision domain to the switch, as is Bart, as is Marge. So if Homer can communicate at 100 megs, and Marge can communicate at 100 megs, and Bart can communicate at 100 megs, and all of them can do this at full speed, while the effective throughput of the 3 devices talking at the same time is 300 megs. Whereas with the previous example on the hub, if Homer or Marge or Bart if one of them could only talk at any point in time, and then because we're listening for collisions on the network, we're in a half duplex mode. So if the previous network was a 100 meg network, really with the half duplex it would be 50 meg receive, 50 meg transmit for only one device. So the previous hub network would have been a 50 meg throughput, whereas this switch network, because each device to the switch is its own collision domain, is a 300 meg network. If this was to increase to 4 computers or 5 or 6, it would increase by the relevant speed. So 6 computers would be a 600 meg throughput network. So you can see quite quickly the switch is a much more effective way at running a basic network. Okay, that's the end of this tutorial. In the next tutorial we will add a router onto the network. Thank you.